Hello everyone, March is Women's History Month, and luck be a lady, countless women have made their mark right here in Clark County. A Nevada leader, pioneer, icon. Ruby Duncan is a fighter at the core. The mother of the welfare rights movement in Las Vegas, Ruby stood up, spoke out, and gave a voice to families working to survive, shaping the state of Nevada in the process. Let's rewind, shall we? Growing up in Tallulah, Louisiana in the 1930s, chopping and picking cotton on a plantation in search of better wages and a fresh start, Ruby arrived to Las Vegas in 1952. She worked sunrise to sunset for decades until literally breaking her back on the job. Like many Americans, Ruby was just one life-altering change away from poverty. An accident, a divorce, a medical emergency. She experienced all three, from a cotton picker to a White House advisor, against all odds and never backing down. This is Ruby Duncan. You're wearing pearls.
Yes.
I've got my questions here.
Yes.
I have so many questions.
Yes.
But let's start there because you've had these pearls since when? Early 1980s?
Yes, maybe a few years before.
If pearls could talk, what would those say?
Oh my God, they'd say some great things and then they'd say, well, a few things we should be quiet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. A lady never tells. Listen, you believe that all people should have bread.
Oh, yes.
Justice.
Yes.
And dignity.
Yes.
Okay. Specifically your dedication to children's and women's rights.
Yes.
You never stopped fighting. Why?
Because you can't stop. I mean, there are more women out there to help, more children out there to be fed, more families to be taken care of. And I'm not just talking about black women. I can always talk about my black sisters, but I have to go with the brown sisters and the white sisters. We don't talk enough about even the white sisters because, see, I served them for years, and I know there's many, many of them out there that need help. But the black and brown sisters are going to move, they're going to talk, and they're going to tell you, I won't. Whatever they want, they're going to go for it. But I want you to know that, and I want the masses to know, that we have loads and loads of poor white mothers out there, need as well as the poor blacks and the brown. And we want to take care of them babies.
Yes. All women
yes.
deserve the respect and dignity. You
yes.
talk about, you have countless examples, but I think back to your time at the Flamingo.
Yes.
And you walked off the job in protest
yes.
of better conditions. You were
yes.
fired the next day.
Oh, yes.
You called a local newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke to the reporter. You hated the welfare
I
system.
Tried.
You had hoped that that reporter would go and speak to the welfare department.
I thought.
Ask those tough questions.
I thought.
Didn't ask tough enough questions.
No.
So what did you do?
I just went and started walking from door to door and found out my mothers were suffering worse than I were. But they were too, just too frightened to want to talk about it any other way. Because, you know, who wants to be on welfare? Nobody. And that's the reason why I started screaming. Yes.
And the world listened.
Oh, yes.
March 6th, 1971. You
Yes.
organized the first march, the first protest march on the Strip.
Yes.
After Nevada cut approximately 75%
Exactly.
of the welfare aid to women with
Yes.
children.
Yes.
What gave you the strength to lead that charge?
I had 7 children. And the only economic part of that to take care of my family was the scream. You know, if anything hurt, you scream. And I did. And if I was hurting, I know many other women were hurting. And it was going on all over the country at that time. I didn't know it in the beginning. But it was so wonderful to join that screaming bunch of women.
Gosh.
Yes.
Amazing, to put it lightly. And headlines aside, Ruby, headlines aside, you were still in survival mode, okay? At the end of the day, you said, listen, our children need to eat.
Exactly.
Okay? So you organized in Eden. You walk into the stardust.
Yes.
And this is a visual tale that I really want you to share with our viewers because, gosh, these children, the first time that they see steak, the first time they see salad,
Yes.
how do you best put that into words?
Well, it's like my children said when we got home, and they said, "Mama, I never ate no food like that before." And steak and lobster and shrimp, all of those wonderful 200 and some kids just had the greatest time of their lives of eating. And that was to put pressure on the Nevada State Legislature to feed our children.
With the food stamps and
Yes,
nutritional
food
awareness.
stamps and the WIC program.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's all
Yes.
interconnected, right? When you would tell people, listen, our children need to be fed, what would happen in that room? When you looked people in the eye and said that with the conviction that you still speak with today, what's going on here?
Well, the majority of the legislators that I was talking with, and that like the committee, and that used to be a big committee, they began to look as though they said this could not be happening in Nevada, but it was happening in Nevada. Although a couple of those legislators did laugh a little bit, or smirk a little bit. And I just kept moving. I told them I'm going to keep coming back.
You kept moving. That is something that you say. This
Keep
is interesting.
moving.
I want folks zero in on
Yes.
this. Because when perhaps corruption is going around,
Oh, yes.
or racism, inequality, you say what?
Keep moving.
Keep moving.
Yes. You don't stop.
Yeah.
You can't stop. And today, women cannot stop trying to feed their children. So since mine has gone off, and I have oodles of grandchildren.
Oodles.
Oodles of them. We want to make sure that all children, I want to see every child have food on his plate or her plate. Yes.
You kept your head above water.
Yeah.
You fought. You won, not only here in Clark County, but across the nation. And when you think about the battles, not only for Nevadans, but
Yes.
globally,
Yes.
those that are struggling, living paycheck to
Right.
paycheck, if they can find one.
And throughout the territories
Right.
of the United States.
Right.
And I tell everyone, I just love it. I got millions of grandchildren.
Yes.
It's just the loving thought of every child. See, I didn't have that when I was coming along in the cotton fields of Tallulah, Louisiana.
Right. Right.
The backwoods.
To a White House advisor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wild.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
As
love
do we.
it because
As
my
do we.
children are getting fed. When I say my, I mean the world or the United States. Let me back up and say that.
What's your message to all of your grandchildren, to everyone fighting their own battles, right? We've all got battles. What's your
Yes.
message to those that are...
Well, to all the children and mothers throughout this country, don't stop going into the centers wherever the food is or the issue of the foods. And what I'm trying to say to them, do not let no social worker, none, zero, tell you can't have what you need to have. Call your governor. Call your welfare director. Call the newspaper. Call anybody, everybody, but feed your family.
You find a way.
Yes.
You went on to found Operation Life in 1972.
It was so beautiful.
Goodness. And it was one of the first, if not the first.
The first.
Okay, and there it is.
Yes.
There it is. Who needs research? I got Ruby Duncan.
first.
Women-led corporations.
Yes.
In terms of the medical care,
Yes.
all of the firsts
Yes.
that you did
Yes.
For your neighborhood. In the 20 years that you directed the organization, what do you cherish most?
Oh, I cherished that organization, and I felt so guilty that I could not continue because of injuries, and the politics of it that was undermined because it was in the Black community. You got to know, along with that, I guess I was investigated almost every month. Scene is and the only one that were listening to what I had to say was the federal government. I have to give it to them. I just wanted so much to make that the largest kind of project that would work with women and children and poor families throughout the community.
We spoke of your strength and your courage. How I'm just trying to help me understand when you've got this target on your back, okay? How do you keep moving? How do you plow forward and find a way?
Well, I keep moving because I think if I keep moving, they may learn.
There it is.
They may learn what I'm doing, and they may themselves tell other families that they know, other families that they working with, that, listen, there's a project over there, or a center, senior families in, because I heard Ruby Duncan talking about it. Just hoping. Yes.
One person at a time, right?
Yes, one person at a time. You just don't ever stop talking. I'm here to tell you, up until today, if I'm in a restaurant and I see a pregnant mama, I'm going to call over and say, do you get WIC? Because WIC is for every pregnant woman that is not privileged to have more. But if that working mother, she's working, she need every slice of bread, every penny for the milk, every dime she can get for fresh green vegetables and fruits and proteins and meats for her family and her children. And we hope that will continue. As long as I'm alive, I guess I will be talking about hunger. I just don't want to be bogged down with the other projects that other people can talk about, but this is my baby, talking about hunger in women. I love strong women. I can't deal with the woman that do not want, she's a little bit weak. It's no such thing. Wake up, get up, scream, yell, you know. You got it, honey. You can do it. And I tell them all the time, you can do it. Yeah. Call your, whatever, wherever you working. You don't have to just yell out loud, but go where you know the power is to take care of that problem. And tell them. But you can scream if you want to.
It's okay to scream if you want to.
Yes, yes. Okay. It may think you're a little bit out of order. Sometimes we do get out of order, but why not? That's life. We got to make it, honey. And I brought up 5 men children and 2 women. Yeah, I did all right.
You did all right.
And help a whole bunch of more women.
Yeah. And men.
Oh, God, men,
full disclosure.
Let's don't forget, I love men.
Well, full disclosure, I work in the office of Commissioner Ross Miller, and he connected the 2 of us, so thank you, Commissioner.
God, he's so wonderful.
You are his hero.
Well, he's my commissioner, and I'm going to work hard for him, wherever I can. I worked hard for his father, so why not work hard for him? Yeah, I love my commissioner.
Ruby, you have made Las Vegas a better place for all of us. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us and for everything that you do and the joy that you bring.
Thank you.
To everyone that crosses your path. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Together, we have work to do, meaningful work, And to those women who have paved the way for all of us, Clark County thanks you. Until next time, I'm Molly Sullivan.